my name is Sarah Rae. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about autoimmune diseases and mental health disorders and how they go hand in hand together. We have talked about IBD and mental health before, and I will link that video in the description box down below and any other mental health videos I have on my channel in the description box down below for you if you want to check out any of those videos. But today we are not going to talk about any one disease or any one disorder. We are just going to talk about how they correlate and how they actually can affect each other. So, with that said, you know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications of when I upload, and let's get into the video. Okay, let's first talk about autoimmune diseases. What is an autoimmune disease? Well, it's where the body's immune system mistakenly attacks and damages its own body's tissue. The immune system produces antibodies directed against the body's cells. And depending on certain diseases, that's where the body will attack the certain organs and tissues, if that makes sense. So if you have IBD, so either Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, it'll attack the digestive tract, so either the small intestine or the rest of the digestive tract if you have Crohn's disease, or if you have UC, it'll attack the large intestine or your colon. So then if you go lupus, it could either attack the skin or the kidneys, for example. So those are three examples that I will give you. Autoimmune diseases are more common in females, and you have periods of flare-ups and remissions. So days where you are in flare-up, which is where the body is attacking itself, and days where it's not. And 24 million Americans are affected by autoimmune diseases, and that's 4% of the world is affected by one or more than 80 different diseases actually that are classified as autoimmune diseases. The exact known cause is unknown for autoimmune diseases, but genetics and environmental factors are thought to be involved as a cause. Now let's talk a little bit about mental health when it comes to autoimmune diseases. So there are there's many mental health disorders that can come with facing autoimmune disorders, but a few are depression, anxiety, psychosis, and schizophrenia, and they can range anywhere from mild to very severe. And actually, it's possible for the immune system to produce an antibody against parts of its central nervous system, which plays a key part in your mood and cognition. So pretty much it can produce an antibody that affects the way you think and the way you behave in your moods. Now I want to do a little bit of things I think you should know about the two, having a autoimmune disease and mental health disorders and how they kind of combine and stuff. So having depression, anxiety, or stress, they can actually be a trigger for flare-ups when having an autoimmune disease. Now, during a flare-up, there is a part of the inflammatory response that creates what's called a cytokine, and that's kind of like an inflammatory marker that circulates in the blood and reaches to the brain causing things like depression, anxiety, social withdrawal, fatigue, and sleep disturbance. The next one is when it comes to stress. Chronic inflammation can actually impair the psychological response, including ineffective coping behaviors resulting in depression, and this can actually lead to a poor prognosis when having a autoimmune disease. Stress can reduce your immune response. And the last one I think you should know is that having an ineffective immune response leading to severe infection, having a mood disorder, and having a autoimmune disease all share a common trigger. So all of those I found when doing my research for this, and I thought all of those were very interesting. I knew the first one, and the rest, and the stress that can actually reduce your immune system. So I knew those two, and the rest I was like, that's interesting. So let's talk about overlapping symptoms. So there's quite a few actually, and the first one, when you think about autoimmune diseases and mental health disorders, you would think maybe pain or depression, but it's actually fatigue. And the reason for this is those cytokines I was talking about earlier. And so those cytokines need to pull from somewhere. So inflammatory is made in your body. Those inflammatory markers need to pull energy from somewhere to make that inflammation. So where do they pull from but the body? And that's going to cause a lot of fatigue on that person in that body because of that reason. So because of that, you're going to have a lot of fatigue. So that's like the number one symptom that someone having both mental health disorders and autoimmune diseases had spoken that they seemed to find they had troubles with. The next one is increased pain. They also had sleep changes, guilt, and depression. And depression, not only because you're feeling powerless, but because of kind of what we mentioned earlier, which is when that antibody that is produced that plays a role in mood and cognition. So when inflammation is created, that antibody is they believe is produced and is sent, that decreases your mood. Quite interesting stuff. There are two other things I want to tell you about that are, I kind of didn't have anywhere to put them in the video, so I'm going to just add them here. So there's an association between vitamin D deficiency and cancer, autoimmune diseases, and depression. And that made me think about how much we stay more indoors nowadays with the pandemic. And we're going to talk a little bit later about what in nursing school we call it intervention, but pretty much ways to help with, like, what you can do to help with everything. And So going for a walk, it is something so simple that can help boost your mood. And you won't even be around anybody. If you have a dog, you can go take him for a walk. I know I take little Hirsch for a walk and he loves it. I just say that word and he just goes ham sandwich. But it makes me think about how much I stay indoors, and I have a few reasons of why, like my PTSD being one, but in the pandemic I try to go out as little as possible. But that made me think about my vitamin D levels. And that don't mean go out and getting, vitamin D tablets. But, if you're worried about it, go to the doctor and have him or her draw your blood and see, where your levels are. Always go to your doctor first and talk to them about everything. That's what I do. But it only takes 10 to 15 minutes of sun a day to get your recommended amount of sun that you need to get the right amount of vitamin D in your body. Only 10 to 15 minutes. So go for that walk. It's good for you. And that will boost your mind. Remember, I will link it in the description box down below, but I did a video about reframing your mind. And one of them was to go for a walk, to get a change of scenery. And, getting that fresh air, it all helps. So the next one is that your genes, unfortunately we can't help with that, but your genes, your lifestyle, the food you eat, and the drugs you consume, all actually, from alcohol to the antibiotics you take, all impact not only your body but your mood as well. And hello, Finn, is so interesting that I always knew like it impacted your mood, but I didn't think about how much it affected your mood, like foods and stuff, and everything. So truly everything you do impacts your body and mind. So think about that the next time you eat or drink. That don't mean stop drinking alcohol. 1 glass of wine every night with dinner. And I'm not saying this because I'm Italian, but I am saying it because I'm Italian. But 1 glass of wine every night is actually good for you. So now let's talk about medications that can actually affect your mood. And let's first talk with anti-inflammatories. They can actually cause your mood to go down. And speaking of mood, let's talk about antidepressants. Even though they're supposed to help your mental state, they can actually affect it in different ways. I mean, you never think medications, they're supposed to help you, right? Well, they can actually be just as harmful to you. That don't mean go and not take them. I mean, what doctors do is they outweigh the risk over quality of life. And if the risk outweighs the benefit, that's how they decide. But let's talk about antidepressants. So you can have difficulty concentrating, you can have fatigue, you can have anxiety, and you can have restlessness. And next up, lastly, I should say, we're going to talk about immune suppressants. I mean, this is a video about autoimmune diseases. And normally, if you have an autoimmune disease, well, not normally, a lot of times you'll be put on an immune suppressant. I'm on an immune suppressant. It is called Stelara. And what an immune suppressant does is suppress your immune system and stops it from attacking the way it does. So it stops it from going haywire, okay? But doing this also stops your immune system from doing what it's supposed to do, and that's protecting the body from infections and other bacterias and just stuff that's not supposed to be in the body. Even though it's not working correctly, it still does what it's supposed to, okay? So lowering the immune system means that you could get an infection, and that means inflammation, which means that your body is going to produce that antibody that is going to decrease your mood. So you're going to have mental health issues. Things like depression, anxiety, insomnia, and fatigue. And lastly, let's talk about intervention. So this is going to be the portion where we talk about how to make things a little easier for you dealing with mental health issues and autoimmune disorders. And the first one is to reduce the stress in your life. And you can do this by distress tolerance. I live by these words every day, that it's not about making it better, it's about not making it worse. They mean everything to me. Oh. Make a positive playlist. I told you guys this a while back, to take some of your favorite songs that just lift your mood up, that also might remind you of a positive memory, and put them in a positive playlist and listen to that whenever you are feeling down some. And that should help lift your mood just a little bit. You can also go for that walk we talked about earlier, or do a hobby. And those are just a few things just to reduce the stress in your life. You could also, it's easier to think negative than it is to think positive. That's why we gotta work so hard to stick to the facts and remove all of that all or nothing thought process in our heads, and stick to being empowered and learn everything we can about what we're going through, and find, the ways to make it easier for us. The next one is to reduce pain, and you can do this by stretching, exercise, hot and cold treatment, hot-cold treatment. So you could do like ice baths, you could do cold washcloths or hot washcloths. Get a heating pad, which I use a heating pad all the time, and it helps so much when I have additional pain that my pain meds do not help with. Do those. You can do support groups. You could do, you gotta reduce that isolation in your life. Next is to do life management. So improve your nutrition. Getting enough sleep is very important, but not too much. They say the right amount of sleep, that perfect amount of sleep, is 7 hours. Noise. There is soothing noises and there is stressful noises. So to keep to that soothing noises and that perfect sound level. So don't go out and blast your music, but that's up to you. Do positive journaling, and if you need to, therapy. There's nothing wrong with going to therapy. I do group therapy once a week and do an individual therapy every 2 weeks. So I'm constantly in a therapy session, like all the time. So there is nothing wrong with therapy. So it has taught me so much about how to help improve my life. But that don't mean you're not going to have days that are going to be more down some, because you will. But it's about getting by and not and managing to live your life. So that is the video I have for you today. I'd also like to remind you guys that my email is in the description box down below. If you ever want to email me, tell me something, or have a comment that you don't want to leave in the comment section, just feel free to email me anytime. I will get back to you as soon as I can. So that is in the description box as well down below. So I look forward to hearing from you. I hope you guys found this as interesting as I did, because there's a lot I didn't know. And Bob, thank you. I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name, but thank you so much for the idea for this video. I hope it's what you were looking for. If it wasn't, leave me another email, and I will try to do more of what you were aiming for. And to let you guys know, if there's ever a video you guys want me to cover or shine a light on, to leave it in the comment section or email me about it. I will do that video as soon as I can as well. So I guess that is it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys are staying safe and well, and that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.